Namaste children. In our yesterday's class, we started learning about grouping living organisms. So where all the living organisms we started into 5 different types, starting from the plants, followed by animals, then your fungi, then your bacteria, and then protists. So, about a little information about all the 5 different types of animals, living organisms, we learnt in our last class. In our today's class, now we are going to learn about differentiation between plants. So, in your surroundings, when you will observe, you will find some different varieties of plants. Plants like roses, plants like fern, plants like tulsi, mango, name like the different varieties of plants you are going to find in your surroundings. So, if you will observe them cleanly, you even get that some plants they are giving beautiful flowers with different colors, very good fragrance, but some other plants are there they don't even have flowers. So based on this category, that is whether the plant is flowering or it's not giving flowering, we can differentiate the plants. So both the plants they all have all the body parts of it like roots, stem, branches, leaves, but the only difference here it is they are some of the plants they have flowers and some plants they don't have flowers. So basing this as one of the criteria, now we will start grouping the plants into two different categories. One category we are calling them as a flowering plants where a beautiful flowers with a good fragrance that will be noticed, and the second one is non-flowering plants is where we won't even observe flowers. Okay, yes, so now let us start our class. In our today's class we are going to learn about the main keyword, that is spores. The main keyword we are going to learn about, that is your spores. So what are spores? Spores are the reproductive parts that are seen in the non-flowering plants, especially in your fern plant. Those are the reproductive parts, very minute in their structure. So let us see what are spores. Spores are the reproductive parts that are produced by some plants, that I said now fern.
Spores, a reproductive part produced by some plants.
Okay, so now observe the pictures carefully, children. This you know very well. Beautiful plant which gives beautiful flowers. This is your rose plant. Okay. Now observe this clearly. And another one, this is your fern plant. This also as an indoor plant we are growing nowadays. So in this fern you have to notice this thing very carefully. The brownish color, small granule-like structures that are called spores, which are present in the lower side of the leaf. So those structures we are saying them as a spores. So now these spores speciality what we are going to learn in our today's class. Have a clean observation of these two pictures. One is giving a beautiful flowers and one is not giving beautiful flowers. So keeping this in the view, how we are going to differentiate the plants. So before starting that, let's have a quick look on the video, a very small video. Okay children.
flowering plants have flowers, while non-flowering plants do not have flowers. Sunflower, hibiscus, daisy, and bougainvillea are some flowering plants. Most flowering plants produce seeds, which produce new plants. Mosses, ferns, and conifers are some plants that do not have flowers. Most non-flowering plants reproduce using special structures like spores or cones.
Yes, children. So now, basing on that video and already the given pictures, these are the given pictures. So, basing on these two, we will come to know that there are two different varieties of plants. One we are calling them as a flowering plants, and the second we are calling them as a non-flowering plants. So now these flowering plants, they will arise from the bud part. Yes, so the flowering plants, they are arising from the bud, and they, that bud, it give rise into a seed, and with the help of seeds they will undergo reproduction. Yes, with the help of seeds, now these flowering plants, they will do reproduce, or they will reproduce means giving birth to same variety of living organism. So your flowering plants are the variety of forms where they are reproducing. Most of that flowering plants, they will give us seeds, and with the help of seeds they will reproduce. Okay. So now if you will see these plants, these are your non-flowering plants because they cannot prepare give any flowers. So now such non-flowering plants here, I already said na, specialized structures. So these non-flowering plants, as they are not giving flowers, now they are not having any seeds. So with the help of small, very small, tiny granule like structures that are present, which are helpful for reproduction process. So those tiny granule like structures, we are calling them as a spores. Okay. So now most of the non-flowering plants, they will reproduce by spores. But if you will see some non-flowering plants like your pine, fir, these are some plants, they are not producing any spores. They are producing a specialized structure that is called your cone. So with the help of cones, they will undergo reproduction. So such plants, we are saying them as a conifers. Okay. So now at first we started differentiating the plants into flowering and non-flowering. Again in the non-flowering, we had seen some of the plants are reproducing by spores and others are reproducing, others are truly conifers because they are reproducing by cones. Okay. So now children, based on the two images and the video, let us start discussing about few questions. That is, what is the similarity? Yes. So what is the similarity and difference about the two plants? So now the two pictures that were shown to you, rose and ferns, can you find any similarity in between the two plants? Let's first discuss. Yes, the similarity in between the two plants is all the two plants, they are having flowers. Are they having flowers? No. So the two plants, they are having a similarity, that is they are having leaves, they're having roots, they're even having stem. This is the similar character that is seen between the two plants. Then what is the main difference that we will find? The main difference that we will find is the rose is a flowering plant and your fern it is a non-flowering plant. Similarities is same like all other plants. They too have the roots, stems and leaves. The main difference is one plant, that is your rose plant, can produce flowers, whereas your fern it cannot produce flowers. Okay, so here you can see both are, yes, both are the plants that have green leaves. Both the plants they have green leaves. Whereas the difference, main difference, you are seeing that one plant has flowers, but the other plant do not have any flowers. Okay. Yes. Now let us see what is the difference between flowering and non-flowering plants. The main difference between these flowering and non-flowering plants, that is one is having flowers and another one it is not having any flowers. So when it is your flowering plants they can reproduce by the help of seeds, whereas your non-flowering plants they are reproducing with the help of spores, or they're reproducing with the help of cones. Okay, yes, see here you can find out they're reproducing by specialized structures, that is spores and cones. Yes. So now let us notice this question also. What are one similarity and one difference between a conifer like a pine tree and a fern plant? Because both are non-flowering plants. So now they are asking what is the one similarity? The similarity is both are non-flowering plants. This is the first and foremost similarity that we will observe in conifer and a pine tree and a pine tree and a fern plant. Then they are even asking to write the difference. So the difference here it is both the plants, yes, I have, and they will get differentiated from each other in their reproductive structures, where the pine it is reproducing by spores, whereas your uh, fern plant, pine is reproducing by spores. No, your pine it is reproducing by cone, which is a truly a conifer, whereas your fern plant it is reproducing by spores. This is the major difference that is noticed in them. One is your conifer and one is reproducing by spores. Yes, children. So now let us have a quick look on your workbook, volume book. Yes. So in this volume book, if you will see, yes. So in this volume book, when you will see the first question, they are asking that write the tick mark the plant that is common and write the tick the part that is common and cross out the part that is not common in these two plants. So now they are asking to tick the common part that is present in between these two plants and the different part. So the common parts that is present in between these two plants, a rose and a pine tree, that is stem, it is seen in both the plants, and leaves both are seen in stem and leaves both are seen in these two plants. Flowering it is not noticed in these two plants. Okay, children. So now after that, let us move to the second question. In this second question, when you will notice, answer the following questions. So the first one is sort the plants into flowering and non-flowering plants. Okay, so they are giving you some 6 to 7 plants and they are asking you to differentiate them into flowering and non-flowering plants. So the first one, that is a conifer. So conifer, it is a non-flowering plant. It's a non-flowering plant. Whereas the next one, it is your sunflower. Sunflower is a flowering plant. Okay. Then your moss. Moss is a non-flowering plant. Yes. Whereas when it comes to your bougainvillea, bougainvillea, it is a flowering plant. The next one, that is your fern. Fern is a non-flowering plant. Now the third one, that is your next one, that is your jasmine. Jasmine is a flowering plant. Last one, that is your rose. So rose is also truly a flowering plant. Yes. So now what all the seven plants that were listed above, differentiate them into flowering and non-flowering plants. Okay children, then let us move to the next question. Your next question is, write one difference between the groups of the plants. So now they're asking to write only one difference, and you know the only one difference you have to highlight and write here is, the plants are categorized into two types based on the flowers. One as a flowering and second one is non-flowering. Okay children, so now let us move to the third question. Your third question is saying that, what is the difference in the way the two non-flowering plants like moss and fir reproduce. So they're asking the difference between the two non-flowering plants in their reproductive methods. So if you will observe the first one, that is your moss. Moss is a plant. It is reproducing by a specialized reproductive structures that are called your spores. Whereas when it comes to your fir, fir is a type of plant same like your pine plant. It is reproducing by the help of cones. Fir is totally a conifer. It is reproducing by spores. Okay children, so now let us even check the practice questions that were given in your textbook. So in your practice question, the first question, if you will see, circle the plants which bear flowers. So they are asking you to circle the plants which bear flowers. So lily, it is a flowering plant. Sunflower is also a flowering plant. Pine, it is a conifer. Whereas daisy, it is also your flowering plant. Okay, because daisy plant we have discussed in our video where they had given shown you white color beautiful flowers. Daisy is a flowering plant. Yes. So now the second question, that is, write two ways in which flowering plants and non-flowering plants differ. Yes. So the first and foremost difference is, flowering plants they will bear flowers, non-flowering plants they won't bear flowers. So based on the flowers we can be differentiating them. So now the second difference is based on their reproductive method. Your flowering plants they will reproduce by seeds, whereas the non-flowering plants they are reproducing by spores, and they are reproducing with the help of cones. Okay. So now the second B, if you will see, give three examples of each flowering and non-flowering plants. So flowering plants, three examples. You can write n examples: rose, lily, sunflower, daisy. Yes. So like that you can write any three examples for flowering plants. Whereas when it comes to your non-flowering plants, plants like fern, pine and fir, these are some of the non-flowering plants that we know. Fern, pine and fir. Okay children. So now the third question, if you will see, ferns do not bear any flowers to reproduce seeds. So how do they reproduce? Yes, ferns, they don't have any flowers, but they are having a specialized structures that is called your spores on the lower side of the leaf. So now with the help of those spores, a fern plant, it will get reproduce. Okay children, so watch the video till the end, complete your worksheet and practice questions that are in your textbook. Okay children, thank you so much.